Hi there guys, so today I went to Goodwill and I've found this thing here. What this is it says Rain Bird Professional on it, and as soon as I saw it I already recognized what it is, and it's basically a sprinkler system controller. And judging from the way it looked, it was a pretty good one, and they had it listed for $7, and I thought that was a very, very good price for what it is. I don't technically need a sprinkler system controller, but I might need it in the future. But I was more interested in just popping it open and seeing what's inside and all that. Just more for tinkering around with. And it looked like it was in pretty good condition. The one thing that I had noticed is that it has this keyhole, a lock on it, and they didn't have the key for it. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm just going to pick it open. And I'm guessing even though it's like a professional, it says professional on it and so forth, I'm going to take a guess and say this lock isn't a very good one. And it could be picked pretty easily, I'm assuming. Let's see, looks like it says it's 120 volt AC. So we're going to need to hook this up and test it after I get it open. Looks like this is where there's wiring inside. This is where you hook up the main power, and on this side here it looks like it's where the controller, the solenoid wiring goes to control the solenoid that opens and closes the sprinkler system. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to it, and I'm gonna go ahead and see if I could get this open first to see what it looks like inside. I mean, this thing could be completely messed up, I don't know, but we won't be able to know until we open it up and see what it looks like. Now, in order to pick this thing open, you're gonna need a pick set or lock pick set, but since I don't have one handy, I'm gonna be using paper clips, which I've used in the past and they work just fine as long as it's not a very complicated lock. So here's the one paper clip here, which I kind of shaped into this shape here. To me, this is the easiest way to open it. You're also going to need another paper clip shaped this way. What this one is a torque, and what that does is it puts pressure against the hole here, or the key, the lock basically, to push it one way or the other, while this one here pushes the pins inside up and down to try to set them in the correct spots. So it looks like from the picture here, I don't know if you can see that, there's a closed lock picture and an open lock picture, which tells me that this needs to rotate clockwise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this torque pin pick here, and I'm going to put it right down here like that, and I'm going to pull against it to get it to rotate clockwise. This other clip here is for the pins, and that's going to go up here like that. And what I'm going to do basically is put pressure against this to have it rotate clockwise, and I'm going to play with the pins until it starts spinning little by little. It takes a little bit of skill to do this. You need a little bit of experience to know how much pressure to put up against it, when to let the pressure go, and so forth. But I'm sure you could find some tutorials online for this. That's how I learned how to do this as well. So I'm starting off with the top two pins until I feel that they've set in the right places, and I'm going to start going deeper and deeper until I get all the pins to set. And you should start seeing this rotate little by little counterclockwise until it fully opens. So the problem is that I have this set on a table that is glass, and so it just keeps sliding around, and it's very difficult for me to hold down the torque key correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put something underneath so that it doesn't slide around so much. Alright, so I put some wood underneath this, and it seems like it helped with the sliding around. So I'm going to go ahead and give this another try. Alright, as you can see, it's starting to loosen. That's it. And that's how you open the lock. So now we're just gonna pop this open. And show you guys what's inside. So it looks like you got like a instruction manual. It's taped onto the left here. And it says ESP12LX. So I'm assuming 12LX means it could program 12 separate solenoids, maybe. So it has a nice little analog switch here. A little, let's see, I don't know how to push these around. I'm assuming this opens up even more. Yep, there we go. Nice. Okay, so it looks like it has this battery here to keep the settings if the power goes out. Looks like it's got a spare fuse. It's got a screw here holding down this part, which is this whole control panel here. Here's where the wires are to hook up the neutral, hot, and ground wiring through this hole here. And it looks like it's got a transformer here. And let's see, looks like these are the terminals where you hook up the wiring that goes out through here for the separate solenoids to turn on and off the sprinkler. It actually looks like you could do more than 12. You could do up to 16, but you would have to add these missing components, solder them in, I guess. Actually, let's see what these components are. This one looks like there's some diodes here, some capacitors, and it looks like these are transistors, high power transistors perhaps. And yeah, it looks pretty basic and simple, so that's pretty cool. It actually looks brand new, like it's never been used. So I'm not sure. From the way it looks like everything's intact and it should work fine. But I guess what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and get some wires and hook up the power, 120 volts, and see if I could get this thing to run and see how this all looks. So what I'm doing now is I got my wires and I'm cutting them and hooking them up to the wires that are internal to this box. So I'm stripping off the tips here to expose the bare wires. Basically what I got at the other end of this is this guy here. I couldn't find one with ground, but since we're just testing this really quick, it's not really that important to me to have ground on it. I'm not going to be touching anything inside of this. I'm going to be very careful with it. So I left the ground out for now. But yeah, this is just going to be a quick test. Of course, if I was installing this, I would not leave the ground off of it if I was actually going to use it. Wow, these are some difficult wires. Alright, finally. Okay, so they're pretty securely tightened together. This white one is neutral and the black one is hot. And the way this maps to the plug here on this end is the one that's fatter is neutral, which is white, and the one that's thinner, the outlet here, is the black color one. So that should be correct here. If not, we should see something blow up. So let's go ahead and plug this in. So I've plugged it in. It's making this ringing sound. don't know if you guys could hear that. So there's definitely something messed up in this. Don't believe it should be making that ringing sound. The funny thing is though, that it does work in terms of showing you something on the screen here. It shows OD. Let's see if I can press reset. Nothing's happening. Off. Yeah, so it's making a funny ringing sound, and it looks like I can't. Oh, what's this? Test program. Yeah, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna search on Google to see what this means, the sound that it makes. It sounds like the sound that's coming out from the transformer, and so that, yeah, it doesn't sound good. Alright, so I searched around and I found one of these guys that we're all familiar with. And I'm going to go ahead and use this wire here to hook this thing up to the mains. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it up and just connect it to the wiring in the box. Since this has ground, it should hopefully allow me to... Well, we'll see if it gets rid of the humming sound from the transformer. I'm wondering what this white powder stuff is inside. If anybody knows, you could probably leave a comment. So I've ran into a little bit of an issue here. I'm not actually familiar with this coloring scheme here, the blue, brown, and the stripy green. So I don't really know which wires here map to which one of these points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use a multimeter to on the settings, the continuity settings, to see if it which one goes where. This way I could figure out exactly how to connect these wires to this guys here. So I got this multimeter and I have it on the setting for continuity testing. So whenever you connect the two tips here, it will make that sound. And what I'm planning to do is map these colors to these points here. So this is all one wire here, and so these go up to this. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with the blue one and see where that maps to. Alright, so the blue one maps to this one here, which is the new. So I got a blue marker here. I'm going to mark this blue just so I always know. That one's blue. So the next one is going to try this brown. I'm guessing the brown would be ground. Nope, it's not ground. Okay, so it's the other endpoint here. So I don't have a brown marker, so I'm going to leave that one unmarked. However, I do have a green marker, which I'm going to use to draw on the ground here. Green. And just for the heck of it, let's go ahead and wire this to the sprinkler system. So blue was white. There you go. So all three of them are wired. So all we got to do is plug it in and see if the humming sound disappears. Well, that's too bad. Looks like it's still making the humming sound, even with the ground connected. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and stop here. I don't think I need to waste much more time on this. It was fun taking it apart and looking at, picking it open and kind of checking it out and seeing what it looks like inside. It was pretty cool. It was definitely worth the entertainment value of $7. If anybody knows what that humming sound is or how to fix it, please leave a comment below. Thank you very much for watching.